So every week I get sent a ton of links to check out. And so we're recording raw videos of my reactions. This week we're checking out this to-do list that was built inside of the Unity editor, which is actually pretty cool. But essentially it looks like a custom editor tool where you can just track your tasks. Now, while the concept of this might be simple, it's actually an amazing exercise to test your ability on working with editor tools, scriptable objects, how you can create and maintain these tasks, and just the general logic. What happens when a task is completed, how you update the list, how you restructure the formatting and organize it. There's actually a lot of good practicality when building out simple tools like calculators and to-do lists. So pretty cool. And yeah, great job on this. I think it was Michael that submitted this. Good job. All right, so next we have Hitman 3 VR. Reloaded is making significant changes to Adapt.io interactive sandbox stealth game for Quest 3, and we interviewed XR Games to learn more. So let's check this out. So this is MetaQuest. Let's see here.
I see you in the shadows.
Oh, very cool. Cool art style, kind of like cyberpunk installation.
Waiting for your moment until that time arises. You're my next crisis.
Solid soundtrack.
You
all of this
are Agent 47. Acquire your target. Take control. Go anywhere. Become anyone. Strategize. Improvise. And execute. Your choices. Your weapons. Your world. In your you.
Definitely right off the bat, by the way, in case you're wondering, 1000% this game is made with Unity. 80% of all games and XR applications are made with Unity, especially when it's made for the MetaQuest, because the XR Interaction Toolkit allows you to do everything you're probably about to see in this game extremely simple. Looking at this, there's a couple things they got going on. These neon boxes, so the neon boxes actually aren't that special. It's just it's just a 3D, it's a 3D model essentially, and then it just has an emissions material on it. And so the emissions material on these, it lets you emit light from a source object. So for example, if I actually wanted to really glow those boxes, you would raise the emissive channel and it would allow it to just like shine and glow, and eventually it would whitewash the screen.
7. Acquire your target.
Let's see here.
Take control.
Simple FPS
Go
controls.
Anywhere. Become anyone.
So this is a cool feature here. Yeah, this is a cool feature. So this hologram concept here, pretty neat. You can see it's got some transparency. This is actually built using just a world. It's a world canvas object. You can actually create this super simple in all augmented virtual reality applications. And essentially it's just anchored to the character position, and you can turn it on and off based on when you need it to be there. And it's always going to be fixed to the character's position relative to where they are. Really, really simple. If you ever play around with world space canvases, this is how it's done.
What?
When I look at video games, oftentimes I'm always asking myself, like, hey, how did the developers do this? This is a banana peel slip. How did they create that game mechanic? And when you look at a banana peel effect like that, it's important to remember that games are just smoke and mirror effects. And the way they actually did this was there is a banana on the floor. There's definitely some trigger element, probably a trigger collider around it, and it's detecting some AI. Once that is detected, it's then going to trigger this animation. That character by no means is actually, there's nothing physics involved here. There's no actual slip and fall. This is totally just a simple game logic interaction. I detect the banana and I trigger an animation based on who's on this. That allows you to have a dynamic system where you could have any type of character AI or creature step on a banana and just slip and fall, because they all have the unique animations to support that mechanic.
Everything is a weapon.
That's fun. Detonators like this, these are always cool. You can literally, like, the game logic behind placing an explosive and then creating a detonator controller. It's an excellent problem to solve, where it's like, how do I know which C4 is explosive? Or if you're maintaining a list of C4 explosives, you can do a lot of cool things with trigger elements like this. Really, really cool looking game, and I will likely play this when it comes out. Very cool. All right, cool. Let's see what we got next. So since you asked how the FPV feature works, here's a quick demo. Okay, very cool. So they created a drone controller and a playable virtual drone through mixed reality. That is cool. Wow, what a great way to let the kids play with a drone in the house without damaging things. That is cool. Yeah, drones are easy mechanics. You can fake them easily as well as you can actually, if you want a challenge, you can create like legitimate hover physics, and it's a fun thing to code. Yeah, this is a really neat demo. All of this stuff, by the way, you saw one of the unique things about this, how he scaled it up like this. This used to actually require quite a bit of code magic to do. And today it's actually just a component you can attach onto a game object, and it just magically works now, built in by default through the XR Interaction Toolkit. All right, let's see what else we got here this week. Okay, the life of a solo developer. Just, that's funny. Literally, yes, it is the loneliest journey. I would, yes, absolutely. It's a lonely journey, but also like think about how beautiful it is that you today have an idea for a video game and you can just go grab an asset pack, you can learn to code, and you can actually build your dream game. Is it going to take you some time? Absolutely. But the whole part of the last 15 years of this industry was democratizing game development and making it accessible to people like you and me. It used to cost $1 million for an Unreal Engine license 10 years ago. Today, it's completely free for you and I to make the games we want to make. Okay, so next we love to see our game grow day by day. Let's see what we got. Okay, so we got before and now. Oh my God, look at those. So interesting. It looks like a totally different type of game, but now you're being chased by like really flexible looking dominoes. Fascinating. So this looks like it's using what's called jelly physics. And jelly physics is no joke. You are literally real time modifying mesh here, like you're doing mesh deformation in real time. That is a very challenging effect. I don't believe this is a shader effect. If you look at the shadows, it seems too real time, which tells me that this is potentially actually like jelly physics. Really, really cool. So there is object there is. So you'll notice that okay. Yeah, okay. Interesting. So you'll notice here that this AI here, I don't believe the dominoes have any effect on each other. It doesn't look to be that way. As you can see, they're all kind of mesh blending together. That's just because they don't have any colliders. There might not be mesh colliders on them. To get objects like pertinence there, where, hey, I'm aware of my surroundings, one of them would have to have a collider, and then the nav mesh agent would have to have kind of like a radius that says, hey, obstacle avoidance from other objects. So without that, they're just going to blend and mesh together. Okay, so up next, we got this Reddit post. Are game jams really beneficial for developers? With just a couple of days until GMTK Jam starts, I was wondering what the key benefits of a game jam are. In theory, it would be networking and visibility for sure, but what were your experiences? Is taking part in a jam alone even enough, or does it require you to stream or at least document your process? Yeah, great question. Are game jams really beneficial for developers? Truthfully, one of the most valuable things you can do is go participate in a game jam. Getting that teamwork experience, that networking experience, that communication, collaboration experience is invaluable and actually simulates what it's like to work in an actual game studio. So when it comes to game jams, yes. The challenge here, though, is, a lot of people feel like I'm not skilled enough to participate in a game jam and things like that. And that's what game jams are great about, is everyone expects you not to have all of the answers. You are there to learn and grow as a developer, and game jams are purely for fun, not competitive sport. So yes, should you be participating in game jams? Absolutely. So let's check out some of the comments and see how people reported their feedback based on, I guess, what I just gave you. So networking isn't what they are for, in my honest opinion. Absolutely false. They are 1000% to network. I can't tell you how many actual game developers from companies like Cartoon Network or 2K Games that I actually met working on game jam projects. So right off the bat, don't listen to this guy. You get better at making games by making games. 100% true. Also in a game jam, you maybe don't end up with what you wanted. Again, it's not really about that. It's about the experience of building something under a tight deadline. It's about the camaraderie of coming together to build something fun and unique. And it's about just the pure chaos. You're going to see the most crazy game mechanic features of just things that go wrong because I only had 48 hours to work on this thing. So it's not a bug, it's a feature. Let's see here. Deadlines make it way easier for my brain. It's also a good way for scope creep. You know, oftentimes if I'm working on my own project, scope creep is going to happen where I'm going to decide I'm going to build the next MMORPG game like RuneScape, and it's going to take me 7 years to build this. A game jam forces me to say, what can I build in 2 days? And we are going to figure out what our skill sets are, what our strengths are, and we're just going to get stuff done. We're going to hack things together. I can't focus on, am I doing this the right way? Is this the best way to do this? It's literally a hackathon. I think the game jams are the fun side of networking, 1,000%. Some of my best friends I've met through game jams. You won't meet any venture capitalists or publishers, but you will meet hackers and creatives. Accurate. Publishers, investors, things like that, they're not hanging out at game jams. But game developers, they're at game jams. You will run into some amazing people for sure. The difference is that you're there to do the thing, not to chat people up. Disagree. It's both. We're doing the thing and we're chatting, and oftentimes you are literally working from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m., sometimes 8 a.m. till even 4 a.m. with these people. It's a really, really great experience. So this comment's really interesting. Networking for musicians and artists matters during jams. Like, it matters a lot. So what does that mean? What are they coming across as? For musicians and artists, when you go to a game jam, networking is important, right? Because what if I go to a networking, what if I go to a game jam and I don't know anyone there? What am I going to do? I have to network and I have to find out, hey, I'm a programmer. What do you do? Are you an artist? Are you a musician? Oftentimes when you go to a game jam, it's designed for you not to know anyone there. And you're going to see people with a whiteboard saying, hey, we're a team of artists and animators and sound designers. We're looking for programmers and 3D generalists. And so you have the ability to just go up there and say, hey, my name's Jonathan and I'm a programmer. I'd love to join your team. They're not going to say no. Like, that is what a game jam is for. It is to network and grow, and you have a skill set that you want to learn and grow that I need for my project. So networking is actually one of the most important aspects of a game jam, because you have to network to find the team that you're going to join so that you can actually build a game in 48 hours. Here, let's check out the next Reddit post here. So AA and AAA developers, what are some bad habits you think indies should drop? So first off, these are publishing titles. If you're a AAA game studio like Bethesda Games, Rockstar Games, EA, things like that, you're going to be in the AAA category. And then if you're a minor company that still is funded, but maybe not as large as like a Bethesda, you'd fall into the category of AA. And then anything below that is pretty much just amateur or indie scene, which some indie companies are funded. For example, Ludi Games, small indie team, funded, is considered just indie. All right, so here, if we look at some of these things, what are some habits that they should drop, that indies should drop? So right off the bat, I really don't actually know how to answer this one. What habits do you feel indies are doing that aren't great right now, that affect quality, affects their game quality, but anything goes really? Let's just review some of the comments here. Maybe we'll get some ideas. Not naming assets properly right now, it doesn't matter to you, right? Well, I know what it's used for, yada, yada. Okay, so this is more of a solo developer just hacking things away. And this is like when a game jam is going on and things like that. Definitely, whether you're programming yourself or you're programming with a team, whether it's AA, AAA, it doesn't actually matter. You should always be naming things correctly. The project you're working in, assume other engineers will be looking at your project and will be trying to help you later on. I don't actually know that this is problem amongst indies. A lot of indie developers I know, they take pride in their work and they actually already do this. So let's take a look at the next one. The biggest sin I see small studios commit is failing to account for the time it takes to ramp pipelines and workflows up to functional. So this comes down to things like preparing your game to be released from day one, having your build processes in place, having your marketing in place and things like that. And that really comes down to just resources, right? If you're a one-man team or if you're in a small group of people, resources are everything, right? So you're pretty much going to be building this as you go. One of the advantages of being indie, though, is that you can pivot and pivot fast. You know, if you're in AA or AAA and you want to make a groundbreaking decision on the game, it goes through a lot of bureaucracies versus indie games. And why a lot of people love joining indie studios is because you have much more creative freedom and you have much more flexibility to have your voice heard. Which, if you're working for Bethesda, you likely aren't going to have your voice heard at all. You're just going to go ahead and take some orders and program what they want you to program. Let's see. Let's look at this next one here. Not using version control. Absolutely, don't just program and build your game on your PC. Go ahead and use GitHub or some version control software so that other developers in the future can help you build your game. If we look here, we got the next GTA Online. Let's see. Here, this is an interesting one. I think indies should take a deeper look at their motivations to make a game. AA and AAA developers are usually criticized for prioritizing commercial success and maximizing profits. That is an interesting concept. Why is that? Well, AA and AAA, they have funding. They report to board members and investors. The purpose of this game is profitability. Why do we have a dozen Maddens? Why do we have a dozen Call of Duties? It's because it's all about profitability. We can resell this game year over year and make record profits. Indie studios, they need to be profitable to support the studio and make their next game, but they might not be as hungry as we need to 100x our revenue to please investors. And when we look at when we look at motivations for indie studios, why they form, it's because developers, for the most part, and indie developers, they are in this more for the craft and the opportunity to build the games they wish they could play or wish they were out there, right? It's their creative outlet to make games. I know so many developers where all they want to do is make enough to survive and build the next game. And then I know other developers who they do want to make millions of dollars off that game. And I don't think there's any wrong answer, right? Like whether you make a lot of money on your game or not, what's more important is like, are you happy doing this? And when I got started coding video games, I used to say the same thing. I just wanted to make enough money so that I could do what I want to do and be happy, which was to code video games. It just happens to be that as a software engineer, the salaries are pretty damn good. This is a really interesting thread here. I'm going to go ahead and leave the link to this thread in the comments for you guys to go check it out. But I think you'll find a lot of inspiration here and some good insight into the differences between indie, AA, and AAA. So for our final clip, we got our demo version where you can list and acquire property in augmented reality. Full version soon for buyers and sellers. All right, let's check out what they're doing here. For those who don't know, the XR industry is explosive. XR, augmented reality, virtual reality, it is a $1 trillion marketplace, and it goes so far beyond just gaming. And gaming is big, right? We have some unicorns. For example, you have billion-dollar companies like Beat Saber and Rec Room, and then you also have multi-billion-dollar opportunities beyond gaming, where real estate is obviously going to be one of these markets. Everything from engineering, construction, architectural visualization, realtors and builders and developers are absolutely diving on board the XR train. So let's see what we got here. Okay, fascinating. So at first I thought this was just a demo in the living room, but this looks like a full city scale potential augmented reality concept to show you what's for sale in your city. And you may be able to set up meetings or send letter of intents directly through this augmented reality app. And you can see they hover over the building that's available. Really interesting from a sales perspective. You know, imagine being able to just download a city app from like the Chamber of Commerce, and local and small businesses could just advertise, and you could just open up your phone and just panorama around, and you could see augmented reality promos for businesses directly through that are just unique to it. It's a really interesting marketing concept, and I think we're going to see a lot more of this stuff as we come about in society, right? Like Pokemon Go got us exploring the world with augmented reality, and you can just imagine like what else is possible. This is a really neat concept and demo. You know, I don't know if this is something that's going to like take off and be completely innovative to the real estate industry, but it is absolutely a unique concept for that industry of real estate. Where I do see this playing out today is architectural firms will spend billions of dollars building these massive Fortune 500 companies or buildings for office space or apartment buildings. And through augmented reality, you can like take an iPad to a ground site where everything is completely leveled, And using the iPad, I can actually see how this building is going to look in a one-to-one scale. That is something that is a billion-dollar industry, and that we're seeing to continue to grow. And I've experienced that myself, and it's one of the coolest things. This is a little bit different, but still, nonetheless, very cool. All right, guys, this was just a few things I found throughout the week and some things that were sent to us. If you want something reviewed, feel free to send it to us directly in the comments, or you can send it to us on our Discord channels.